Thank you. It's 6:02 PM. I'll call the Common Council meeting to order. Today is January 6th. All alderpersons are present except for Alderperson Veneman, who is excused. We're on to item 3, Pledge of Allegiance and silent prayer in lieu of invocation. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. All right, we're on to item 4, which is the administration of ceremonial oaths of office and badge pinning for new police officers. Chief?
Okay, Jordan, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Jordan Lair, having been duly selected to serve as an officer of the police department for the city of Wisconsin Rapids, do hereby solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Wisconsin, and will faithfully discharge the duties of said office to the best of my ability, so help me God. Congratulations.
All right, Baron Taylor, he just graduated in December from Midstate, so brand new.
Hi, Baron. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Baron Taylor,
I, Baron Taylor,
having been duly selected to serve as an officer of the police department for the city of Wisconsin Rapids, do hereby solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Wisconsin, and will faithfully discharge the duties of said office to the best of my ability, so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So this is a time to sneak out if you want to sneak out.
Okay, I'll see you later. Alrighty. Oh. Okay.
All right, we are on to item number 5, which is the reading of the minutes of the previous meeting held on December 19th. What are your wishes? Is that a motion to approve? We have a motion by Bemke, seconded by Katna. Any additions or corrections? Okay, seeing none, please cast your ballots. That motion carried 7 ayes, 0 nays. We're on to item 6. Consider a resolution declaring World Migratory Bird Day in the city of Wisconsin Rapids. And we can introduce the bird people. Elizabeth this year. Yes, you do. We appreciate them all.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Whalen. My address is 211 15th Avenue North, Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin. And I am part of our Bird City, Wisconsin Rapids Committee. So this resolution, World Migratory Bird Day, is something that we, ask you to approve every year. The birds that we enjoy in our area are sometimes they're on their way north to Canada. Sometimes they're coming down from Chile, Guatemala, anywhere in between. Birds don't have borders. So I just wanted to read off the Bird City, Wisconsin, their mission statement. So just to kind of remind us. So it's real quick. Bird City, Wisconsin provides highly visible public recognition to municipalities that understand that healthy communities are the sum of many parts, including birds. We support our communities and in their efforts to protect and manage green space, educate their citizens, build and erect nesting structures, landscape with native plants, reduce threats to birds like collisions and outdoor cats, and generally make urban areas both friendlier for birds and places where people want to live and work. I think that pretty much sums it up. I think being a bird city for Wisconsin Rapids is a positive thing, and we actually see lots of people participating in our Christmas bird count, lots of bird feeders around the area, lots of people just enjoying the birds on the river and things like that. I think, just so you know, we had somebody count, I believe it was 10 eagles, this Christmas bird count on the river this year, so that was pretty neat. So, and we also had a nesting pair of peregrine falcons on the mill building this past summer. So, and they apparently raised young. So, do you have any questions or anything? I feel like we've done this so many times and stuff, but. All right, we'll be coming back next month with the request for funding for the, you can fund us whatever you want, but we're just asking for the fee, which will be $175. We're still getting some of our ducks in a row, no pun intended, for the application because they are asking a few extra requirements this year, and we probably need to work a little bit more on our habitat categories. So if you want to talk to me or if you want any more information, I'll be happy to provide it. Thanks for your time and your service.
Thank you, Jake.
I think it's awesome that we're a migratory bird community. We have the signs when you enter the city.
Yeah.
I know it's something we've been for a long time, but
10 years.
I guess I don't really understand. Does it notify bird watchers that we're a place to come, or like what do you get out of being a migratory bird city?
Okay,
Besides just
so it's
the name.
Bird City, and we're part of a Bird City network, and yes, it does let people know that, Wisconsin Rapids, that we do, we have people here that care about birds, and that we also are a community that, goes out of its way more than your normal community, I suppose, to protect birds. One of the things that I think, and I hope all of you get a chance, if you haven't already, to take advantage of our Prairie Chicken Festival that we host. Our Bird City is actually one of the sponsors of that organization. Have any of you gone out to a blind and seen prairie chickens in the spring? Not a single one. Okay. So prairie chickens are actually a very endangered species. They're really one of the ones that is special to our specific area. We get people actually coming here from all across the country. We've actually had people from overseas. Japan, I think, comes to mind. I think there was somebody else from, Europe that come to our blinds to actually view prairie chickens and take photographs. We have people that drive around looking for, in the marshes and the different places, looking for the whooping cranes, and looking also for, for some of the other, species and stuff that you wouldn't expect to see. One of the ones right now is snowy owls. And so if you happen to be driving around and you see just these cars parked along the side of the road, kind of pull up and be like, where's that white thing in the distance? So yeah, there are people that are coming to the area, and the more that we can, to promote, that would be, a benefit to us, because we have people for the Prairie Chicken Festival that come and stay in our hotels, that eat in our restaurants, that, spend money here, so.
Thank you for that information.
Sure.
That's refreshing. I don't think we've gotten that in a while.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
I
Thank
hunt near
you.
prairie chicken land, and I have yet to see a prairie chicken. Many hours.
It does help if you go out on those blinds and stuff. So let me know if you're interested. I'll try to set you up with a viewing time sometime. So
Pretty
and
early,
that.
though.
It's amazing. I mean, you actually hear and feel the booming before you even see them. It's really pretty amazing. So
Thank you very much.
all right, have a great day.
You too. What are your wishes? Motion by Austin, is that to,
Yeah, motion to approve a resolution declaring World Migratory Bird Day in the city of Wisconsin Rapids.
perfect, thank you. And seconded by Zacher. Any additional comments or questions? All right, seeing none, please cast your ballots. It's cold. That motion carried 7 ayes, 0 nays. We're on to item 7 is to consider a resolution vacating easements regarding a real estate owned by Cranberry Land LLC and located in the West Side Industrial Park. See attachment 3. Go ahead.
Yes, so this is what I placed on your desks is the same easement that was included in the packet, only it's not a draft any longer, although there is a typo in the first legal description being is misspelled, so I'll make sure that the attorney knows that. But this is just to kind of some title cleanup on property in the West Side Industrial Park. It's being sold, and there are 2 easements that show up. The first one was placed on the property before there were any buildings on the property. We never put any utilities there. It was a utility easement. There's a building actually built over the top of the easements, so we have no plans, nor does Water and Light have any plans for utilities in that easement. So we would recommend that that be vacated. And then the second one is a drainage easement for sewer purposes. And that easement actually had said that if we didn't put the drainage ditch in within 2 years, then the easement would be null and void. There was no drainage ditch placed on the property, and I believe in this instance also there was a building that was placed over the easement at some point, so that is not an easement. So by operation of the easement, it actually is null and void, but this is just confirming that we're vacating that easement also. So this is to clean up the title work so the sale can go through.
Any questions? We have a motion by Catnaw to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Austin. Any further additional comments or questions? All right, seeing none, please cast your ballots. When the clerk's mouse catches up. That motion carried 7 ayes, 0 nays. We're on to item 8, consider for the adoption the action of the Plan Commission at its meeting held on January 8th. Mr. Kearns.
Thank you, Mayor. The Plan Commission met at 4 p.m. on January 8th. A quorum of members was present. The meeting was called to order at 4 p.m. Item 1 was approval of the report from December 4th, 2023. There was a motion by Tao to approve that report, second by Davin. That motion carried 4-0. Item 2 was a request from the Engineering Department to dedicate parkland property from Witter Park addressed as 681 Chestnut Street for the purpose of right-of-way totaling about 1,400 square feet and depicted on the attached Lincoln Street Transportation Project plat. There was a motion by Austin to approve that dedication, second by Blazer. That motion carried 4-0. Item 3 was a request from the Engineering Department for a site plan review to perform site improvements at 40 North 4th Avenue. Parking lot, staff provided a summary. There was a motion by Blazer to approve the site plan review, subject to 4 conditions that were outlined in the staff report. A second by Austin occurred. At that time, Ben Goodrow joined the meeting. That motion carried 4-0-1 with Eric Davin abstaining. Item 4 was a request from the City of Wisconsin Rapids and a public hearing and action on an amendment to Chapter 11 of the zoning ordinance to Appendix A and Appendix B, specifically relating to personal storage facilities to modify the land use definition to allow the use within to allow personal storage uses within the district, the B2 district, as a conditional use. Staff provided a summary of the request. The public hearing opened at 4:15 p.m. No one spoke in favor or against. That public hearing closed at 4:16 p.m. Ryan Austin had a question to which staff responded. Eventually, there was a motion made by Member Davin to approve the ordinance amendment and a second by Austin. That motion carried 5-0. Item 5 was a request from the City of Wisconsin Rapids for public hearing and action on another zoning map or zoning amendment to Chapter 11, specifically relating to Appendix B, the land use description of mobile vending. Staff provided a summary of the request. A public hearing opened at 4:19 p.m. No one spoke in favor or against. That public hearing closed at 4:20. Jason Seymour asked for clarification on refrigeration requirements, to which staff responded. There was a motion by Blazer to approve that ordinance amendment, second by Davin. That motion carried 5-0. Item 6 was adjournment. A motion by Austin to adjourn the meeting, second by Davin. That motion carried 5-0. The meeting adjourned at 4:21 p.m. With that, I submit these minutes for your approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kearns. Any questions? What are your wishes? Mr. Katna?
Yeah, I just have one question regarding the mobile vending and permitting and exception within residential zoning districts. So that would allow ice cream trucks and all that to go into residentials. Were they not supposed to before?
Correct.
Really? Okay.
Okay, not.
I'm glad we made that change because that, from my childhood memories of living in Wisconsin Rapids, it certainly came down on neighborhoods, and I'm glad to see that I'll be back for the kids nowadays.
It's the dilly wagon ordinance. Don't remember the dilly wagon? So now we can, yeah, technically now they can. Mr. Rayom?
Yeah, on item number 4, is that the storage facilities that were talked about last month out by Home Depot and that?
Correct. That allows a conditional use permit to be allowed within that zoning district to allow those to be constructed.
Yeah, the property will still have to be rezoned to B2. Previously, though, they made a request to rezone it to industrial, which did not permit, or which the comprehensive plan did not identify. So this is an amendment to permit personal storage within the B2 district, which the comprehensive plan identifies as a good rezone or good use for the area. So they'll be making that request in February, if this amendment is approved.
I'd like to hold it out to vote against it, that's all.
Sounds good.
What number was that? Was that for?
Correct, 4. Anything for anyone else? What are your wishes on the balance of the report? We have a motion by Bemke to approve, seconded by Catnaw. Any further discussion? Please cast your ballots. Okay, that motion carried 7 ayes, 0 nays. Regarding item 4, what are your wishes?
Motion to approve item 4.
Thank you. We have a motion by Austin, second by Catnaw. Any further discussion? Bless you. Okay, seeing none, please cast your ballots. That motion carried 6 ayes, 1 nay. We are on to item 9, consider the adoption, the action of the standing committees of the Common Council. We're on to item A, Finance and Property Committee meeting held January 2nd. Mr. Zacher.
Finance and Property Committee meeting. Met at item number 1, call to order. Chairperson Zacher called the meeting to order at 4 p.m. Item 2, consider a request from the fire department to apply to the Assistance to Firefighters Grant AFG to replace all of the monitors in the ambulances for approximately $130,000 total for the grant. This would be a 95-5 split. FEMA pays 95%, the city would pay 5%. It was moved by Veneman and second by Bemke to approve, and the motion passed 3-0. Item 3, consider a recommendation from Statewide Services to deny a claim from Cayenne Carter for alleged vehicle damage resulting from an open manhole on the expressway on October 11, 2023. It was moved by Bemke, second by Veneman to approve or deny the claim. The motion carried 3-0. Item 4, consider a request from the Community Development Department to release a request for proposals for the Downtown Master Plan project. This is moved by Bemke, seconded by Veneman to approve, and the motion carried 3-0. Item 5, audit of the bills, moved by Bemke, seconded by Veneman to approve. Check number 19376 through 19883, motion carried 3-0. Item 6, set next meeting date. The next regular meeting of Finance and Property Committee is scheduled for Tuesday, February 6, 2024 at 4 p.m. Item 7, in open session, the committee may vote to go into closed session under section 19.851E of the Wisconsin statutes, which reads deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. It's moved by Veneman, second by Bemke to go into closed session. Motion carried 3-0. The committee went into closed session. In closed session, the committee may discuss negotiations and strategy involving offers to purchase property for the right-of-way acquisition and temporary limited easement as prescribed by the Lincoln Street Transportation Project Plat 2022-14. It may give staff direction regarding said acquisitions. In closed session, the committee discussed negotiations and strategy involving the offers to purchase property for right-of-way acquisition and temporary limited easements as prescribed by the Lincoln Street Transportation Project Plat 2022-14. Item 8, the committee will return to open session and may take action regarding said offers and acquisitions. It was moved by Zacher, seconded by Veneman to return to open session. Motion carried 3-0. Return to open session. Item 9, consider for approval the dedication of city property for the right-of-way prescribed by the Lincoln Street Transportation Project Plat 2022-14. This item will be will also be considered by the planning commission per state law and city ordinance. It was moved by Veneman, second by Bemke to approve. Motion carried 3-0. Item 10, in open session, the committee may vote to go into closed session under section 19.85 1E of the Wisconsin statutes, which reads deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. This is moved by Bemke, seconded by Veneman to go into closed session. Motion carried 3-0. Committee went into closed session. In closed session, the committee will discuss negotiations and strategy regarding an agreement with the Heart of Wisconsin Chamber of Commerce for economic development and other services. In closed session, the committee discussed negotiations and strategies regarding an agreement with the Heart of Wisconsin Chamber of Commerce for economic development and other services. Item 11, adjournment. The committee will adjourn in closed session. It was moved by Bemke, seconded by Veneman to adjourn in closed session. Motion carried 3-0, and the meeting adjourned at 6 p.m. With that, I make a motion to accept these minutes.
We have a motion by Zacher. Seconded by Bemke. Is there any questions or comments? Mr. Catno.
Thank you. I would just like to thank Stacy and the Chamber of Commerce and Kyle's department for going back and taking the time as council requested to review the contract and make the adjusted changes and give us time to allocate different funding sources. Out of all the third-party organizations we worked with over the budget process, you guys are the ones that followed through the most and really came, and we were able to work this out and get it done. So I thank you for that.
And we'll also be discussing that in report number 2. Seeing no other questions or comments, please cast your ballots. That motion carried, 7 ayes, 0 nays. Item B, Mr. Zacher.
Finance Property Committee met at 5:30 p.m. on Tuesday, January 16, 2024. All members of the Finance Property Committee were present except for Dean Veneman, who was excused. Item number 1, call to order. Chairperson Zacher called the meeting to order at 5:30 p.m. Item 2, consider for approval an agreement with the Heart of Wisconsin Chamber of Commerce for economic development and other services. It was moved by Bemke, seconded by Zacher to approve. Motion carried 2-0. Item 3, adjournment. It was moved by Zacher, seconded by Bemke to adjourn. Motion carried 2-0. Meeting adjourned at 5:35 p.m. With that, I make a motion to approve these minutes.
Thank you. We have a motion by Zacher, second by Catna. Representatives are here if you have any questions. Otherwise, I guess, do you have any?
I didn't attach one to the packet that was emailed to the alderperson.
Kyle would like to say something?
I do have hard copies, if that's what you're questioning. I handed them out at the committee meeting earlier. I do have extra copies if anyone wants a hard copy of the agreement with the changes. I've also got an email here from Stacy asking for a few minor alterations to the contract, which I went over again in the committee meeting prior.
I just wanted to make sure they knew what they were approving and that there was actually a document that was being approved or referenced.
Yeah, it would have been the one that was emailed last week, yes. But then the email outlines 3 changes. If you want, I can go over those changes, or I can pass them out to you.
Mr. Zacher?
I just wanted to clarify something. Sometimes I shorten the notes a little bit for ease, but in item number 2, I want to read it again. It was moved by Bemke, seconded by Zacher to approve an agreement with the Heart of Wisconsin Chamber of Commerce for economic development and other services as presented using funding from the room tax fund. And that motion carried 2-0.
Sounds good.
So we had a representative from the Heart speak at the finance meeting. Does anybody want to get up now? Does anybody want to be recognized?
Well, I had a question on the funding from the room tax fund. That's like the funding that the city is, well, maybe Tim, or you have the same question, or you were there and you understand, but my
No,
question is,
Yeah, in the room tax fund, 11.25% is designated for economic development, and so that's what will be utilized. Yes.
I just wanted to clarify, Mr. Bemke's motion to approve it, was that with the changes from that were proposed by the chamber?
Yes.
Okay, I will correct the minutes.
Mr. Catno.
Kyle, can you go over them? Because all I have is the email from the 12th that was a draft. If you could just speak to them.
So the first change requested is to Section B, Bullet 3. They're requesting to change the employee headcount for the largest 10 chamber member employers rather than largest 10, I believe it was city employers. Number 2 was Section D, Bullet 3. They were requested to track the IP location of website hits. Their current capability cannot do that. My thought with that was that we could see who was coming to the website, where they were, located, so we could kind of pinpoint some of the traffic on the website that they're overhauling and is outlined here. Again, they cannot do that, so we would remove that. And lastly, Section F is to change sentence 2 under Section F to say the city shall appoint an alderperson or city staff. Again, I recommended at the committee meeting support of these changes, and that was the action that was taken by the committee. Thank you.
So there will be a city personnel there, whether it's alderman or staff, or? Okay.
Mr. Reel?
Thank you, Your Honor. Is the, Tim, he mentioned, I think, 11 point, whatever it is, from the room tax. So is this 25,000 on top of what normally we give?
No, the room tax, the 11.25% that we retain from the room tax is just designated for economic development. Right now, when we did the budget, there were no identified programs, and that budget was $56,250. So the $25,000 contract payment for the Heart will come out of that $56,000.
Okay. Seeing no other questions. Anybody want to speak, or everybody spoken out? Okay, they're all good to go. Oh.
Stacy Keevy, President and CEO for the Heart of Wisconsin Chamber. I just want to say thank you all. I know it's been a long process, I hope that you will, over the course of this year, understand more about what the Chamber does, as well as being able to bring quarterly and then semi-annual reports and presentations and show what we're actually accomplishing, so that we can help make change to the city for the betterment of our businesses. Is there any questions from anybody? All right. Well, thank you all so much.
All right. Seeing nothing further.
Mayor?
Oh, go ahead, Kyle.
Just want to comment with regards to the third change to Section F regarding the city shall appoint. I don't know if we want to provide clarification as if that's a mayoral appointment, if the city council is to elect another alder or a city staff, maybe clarify how that appointment happens, because right now it's just the city shall appoint.
I think they should make that change then directly to.
Yeah, maybe if you want to make that discussion, have that discussion now, that can be incorporated into this at this point. I know the Visitors and Convention Bureau is that a mayor's appointment? Yeah, I think that's a mayor's appointment, Visitors and Convention Bureau. And confirmed by council. Yeah. It's not an alderman, it's a citizen. Yeah. No, I don't think so. I guess what do you guys want to do? Do you want the mayor appointment, or you guys want to appoint one of your own?
I'd like to see it as a council-appointed alderperson.
Does everybody else agree with that? Okay. I guess. Does, Matt, would you like to amend your motion to make that specific?
It belongs to the whole.
Or if you want to do by unanimous consent, is everybody good with that? Switching that to a council appointment to the Heart of Wisconsin? Or what are your thoughts, Tom?
It's going back and forth, I guess, in my mind. I somewhat lead towards a mayor's appointment on that.
I just don't want to see it be like who draws the shortest straw to be on the committee. The bottom line. Yeah. So I guess I think it's important that at least you pick somebody that wants to be on it. Or a staff person that, I think it makes sense as
Yeah.
Kyle's the one who's doing kind of worked on all this and has more economic development experience than anybody on council. I guess my opinion, and that'd make the most logical sense. The community development director would fill that role, but it's your guys' decision. Go ahead.
Mr. Robinson wasn't.
No, he gave his opinion. Yep. Go ahead, Patrick.
Okay, so here's my thinking on this, and if I'm wrong, that's par for the course, I guess. I think that it would be good to have a alderman represented because that changes, and it also, an alderman is elected by the city, so they have, I would think, a different point of view than what the city staff would have. I can also see having the city staff appointed, as it would be a pretty long-term appointment, I would think. But I would think, my personal opinion, an alderman would be better because it would change every couple of years. It would get the alderman to understand what businesses like the chamber do for the city of Wisconsin Rapids, and that's my thoughts. Oh, and it should be appointed by the mayor, and then, so it should be termed on the mayor's appointments.
A lot of times, as you know, probably with the I usually call and reach out to people to see if they have an interest in it, and I guess that's what, Mr. Bemke.
So can we approve this tonight, the way it's written, staff and then bring this back to a committee?
Yes.
Probably legislative committee, probably a good place to talk about it. That works?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, with that, I'll just say I think we can make this decision tonight, and I'll build off of what Patrick said. I think us elected officials are up for election, and a lot of times on the basis of how the city's doing economically, what's coming to town. I mean, it's what we get asked about in our candidate questions, what we get asked about by residents. So I think an elected official should sit on the board seat, and that is to not say that a city staff member couldn't come with, but is it a voting seat on your board? Yeah, right, yeah, I'm not trying to put more people on your board, I'm just saying an alderperson could refer to city staff for any questions that they might not understand for economic development. Are your meetings open? So although they might not be a voting member, a city staff member could be present for such things. I just really think it needs to be an elected official. I think we're the ones that have to answer for it, and as Patrick said, it would be changing then if the residents don't feel like we're getting the job done in terms of economic development. I mean, we will certainly be voted out. There's been enough discussion about the mill, about what businesses come to town, that I think we really need to have someone who's going to be up on the ballot every 2 years that has to answer to it as a voting member in such interest. And I think we could decide that tonight.
I guess that'd make sense if all the races would be contested regularly, but they aren't. I guess it's up to you guys. We have a motion on the floor already to approve.
Well, if the motion is to have the agreement that is, it is basically just saying it's up to the city to decide, right? The city shall have one member, and then if this motion passes, then I would suggest that next month we have an agenda item that says appointment, or how, determination of how membership and possibly an appointment of a member or whatever to that. So that could be a separate thing next week, but I think the language as is in the agreement allows the council to come back and do that next month.
Okay. Guess let's vote on the motion then. Please cast your ballots. I broke it. I think he's gone.
How are you voting, Mr.
Okay, that motion carried, 7 ayes, 0 nays. We are on. You guys are good to go. Thank you very much. Yep. We have more meeting if you have an interest. Just kidding. We're on item C, Public Works Committee meeting held January 4th. Mr. Rayon.
Thank you, Your Honor. Public Works Committee met on Thursday, January 4th, 2024, in the council chambers at City Hall. All members were present. Others attending are listed on the sign-in sheet. Item 1 is called meeting order. The meeting was called to order at 5 p.m. Item 2, review Engineering and Street Department monthly activity reports. The reports were reviewed. Item 3, review the referral list. The list was reviewed with the request to add flashing yellow arrows at the intersection of Washington Street and Highway 54, as well as 8th Street and East Riverview Expressway. Item 4 was set the next meeting date. The next regular meeting would be Thursday, February 8th, 2024 at 5 p.m. And item 5 was to adjourn. There was a motion and a second to adjourn at 5:16 p.m. and that motion carried 3-0. Just that if anybody is interested, there within our minutes is included the reports of the street department and engineering, and if anybody in the public wants it, it is on file to look at it any time. Thank you. I'll move for adoption.
Thank you, Mr. Rayon. I have a motion. So I have a motion to approve by Mr. Rayon. Is there a second? seconded by Mr. Pollak. Any comments or questions? All right, seeing none, please cast your ballots. No, he left. That motion carried, 7 ayes, 0 nays. We're on item D, Human Resource Committee meeting held January 11th. Mr. Bemke.
Thank you, Mayor. Human Resource Committee met Thursday, January 11th. All members were present. A list of others in attendance are on file in the clerk's office. Item 1, meeting was called to order at 4:16 p.m. Item 2, discuss and consider for approval revision to the FLSA classification for Parks and Building Superintendent position. Motion by Catnow, seconded by Delaney to approve the revision to the FLSA classification for Parks and Building Superintendent position. Motion carried 3-0. Item 3, discuss providing mental health check-ins for the fire department employees in consideration of an agreement for the provision of these services with Hofferman Counseling Collaborative. Motion by Catnow, seconded by Bemke to approve an agreement for mental health check-in services for the fire department employees with Hofferman Counseling Collaborative to be funded through donations from the Wisconsin Rapids Firefighters Charitable Foundation and Crossview Church, and the remaining costs be covered through FAP funds. Motion carried 2-0 with Delaney abstaining. Item 4, set next meeting date. Next meeting date was set for Tuesday, February 6th at 5 o'clock. Item 5, adjournment. Motion by Catnow, seconded by Delaney to adjourn. Motion carried 3-0. Meeting adjourned at 4:48 p.m. And with that, I'll submit for approval, but I would like to hold out item number 3.
Thank you. We have item 3 being held out. We have a motion by Bemke. Can you hit your motion button? Is there a second? We have a second by Austin. Any further discussion on the balance of the report? Okay, seeing none, please cast your ballots. Thank you. We have that motion carrying 7 ayes, 0 nays. Mr. Bemke, item 3.
Thank you. I believe we requested at that meeting that night that somebody from Hofferman Counseling Collaborative be in attendance tonight to maybe pitch their proposal. Is somebody here? And if they are, I'd like to recognize them. Thank you.
We also have Mr. Goudreau from the fire department here that's been involved in it, and also the Chief Eckes has been too.
Hello, my name is Janelle Hofferman, Hofferman Counseling Collaborative. Thank you for having me tonight. I don't know that I'm prepared to pitch necessarily the agreement, but definitely answer questions. I was able to watch the HR committee meeting and review some of the questions, and I was also able to have a conversation this afternoon with Ryan.
Does anyone have any questions maybe specifically? I'm trying to help you out here. Mr. Goudreau's here too, so.
I don't have anything to add. I'm just going to come up here and support, and if you have any questions, I can help with the chief as well.
Go ahead.
Hi, thank you
Hi.
for coming. My question was, this 90 minutes that you are going to be initially spending with them, was that did you come up with that 90-minute, or was it suggested by somebody else? How did that come about?
So 90 minutes is a typical amount of time that I would spend with an individual who would come in for an intake session.
That's all I had, thank you.
Mr. Catnow.
Thank you. I'm not trying to lengthen the meeting, but I was told there was a presentation that could have been given at HR. Is that, I'm not saying give it now, but perhaps in the future.
I think what Patrick might have been referring to is a presentation that I went to in a conference that kind of spearheaded some of the behavioral health stuff that we are taking on in the fire service, and then that links into Janelle. And I forwarded the PowerPoint slides of what was presented to me at that conference to the chief, and I think he was going to get it to the rest of the HR committee that were interested in seeing a little bit more of the information. So it is not actually my content. It was put on by Rogers Behavioral Health, and that's kind of a nationwide service that collaborated with Professional Firefighters of Wisconsin that did some research across the state regarding our profession. So.
And if I could, I sent that only to the HR simply because we had been in discussions with them. And I think if I would have sent that to the rest of you, you would have looked at it and went, what is this for? So with that, if you would like to have that presentation, I can surely send it to you and you can take a look at it. But it basically talks to, you know, how did we get to this point in the fire service and the police service also? You know, what drives what we're trying to do here? You know, why is mental health such an issue now within those organizations and really on the rise in America as we look? You know, you could say that 10 years ago you just said mental health was on the horizon. I'm going to tell you right now, the sun is up, shining bright in the sky right now when it comes to mental health issues, and especially in our organization. So what I mean by our organization, I mean fire service in general and police service in general. I'm sure it is in other areas also, but you know, I'm here to speak to what I'm trying to get accomplished here, and that's to try to get a mental health check with each one of our firefighters once a year. We do physicals for them, you know, and we do physicals because this job is an extreme on our bodies. Well, it's just as an extreme on our mental health also. So we need to make sure and cut off these mental health issues before they become problems. We invest a lot of time and money into our employees, and to have them have to walk away from this or something happen that they get driven away from this because we don't take care of these issues is a shame. And this first year I secured all the funding for it. I would like to use it as a trial. I think we're going to see good things out of this. I think we can probably cut some problems off, you know, as they rise. And I guess we're asking for you to give us that chance to be able to try to improve what goes on after the call in the lives of the firefighters. So.
Thank you. And I definitely support this as I made the motion at committee level. As it is a trial, when the trial is complete, I would ask that it come back in perhaps a presentation form that when we're in the conference room or if we're out here, you guys can present more of the data and more of the points you're trying to make to us. And I would go overall. I mean, me personally, I'm more of a fan of the PowerPoints and the presentations because there's a lot of times, and it happened in this meeting, that we got to ask questions that is information that may be sensitive or hard to talk about, and it feels like we're drilling you on things that you might have been able to put up on a slide, and it can be more of a conversation. So just going forward and at the end of this trial, if however the outcome is, if we could get that in a format where we can kind of discuss what's on the slides instead of a PDF or something, then we go in and we're each taking turns. Kind of seems like we're drilling you on questions because it was a sensitive topic, and I think the trial, whatever data comes from that, maybe as well. So if we can kind of gather around in conversation, I believe that would be best.
I would just like to answer that one. I mean, there is some HIPAA issues here, so I mean, we're not going to be able to tell you how what's changed in their life, but we can tell you participation and things like that, you know, those kind of numbers. But to the effect of it had on each person, that's going to be a patient, you know, right between them and the counselor, just like a doctor-patient relationship.
Correct.
So.
Yep. Yeah, it's always hard in a preventative program to show the return on investment, but I think that's, like the chief said, you know, the preventative aspect of it, just like a physical annually. Sometimes you go to the doctor and everything, you get a clean bill of health and nothing happened, but it's that 1 year that you catch something early. Somebody smarter than me once said about behavioral health is kind of like a piggy bank, and you put a quarter in or a dime in or a penny, and we all deal with this. This isn't just a unique issue to the fire department or the police department, but sometimes those are big dollars or $20 bills, and once that once that piggy bank is filled, you know, it's going to fall off the shelf and crack. So preventing that from happening starts with an annual checkup, and then some preventative maintenance from there. So, and then again, that preventative side, like we talked about, something comes up on our physicals in the fire department or police department, we pursue that outside on our insurance. So
One thing also that'll happen at the end, we talked about in HR, is there will be a blind survey after this is all done to everybody that participated in the fire department with questions. Nobody will know who it is or who answered what, but it will be a blind survey just to make sure that, you know, what we're trying to accomplish here is happening, and that they're happy with the vendor, they're happy with the program, and they're seeing some value in it themselves. So.
And I would even say, if I may, I think from my perspective, this really is about welcoming individuals from what are very, very stigmatized professions, and saying, we care about you, and so not only are we going to provide that safe space for you to start to have these conversations, but we encourage you to do that, and we recognize that your overall well-being not only encompasses your physical body, but your mental health as well. My hope is that the city, the fire department sees benefit in this, and that over the years, we're able to actually have a pool of providers who are able to offer services and have space in their schedules to provide services to the individuals who really need them most.
Mr. Bemke?
Thank you. I think the other thing that came out of the other night is, and I believe Chief said that you did meet with Ryan, and I'm just curious, Ryan, you got anything you want to add? Nothing?
No, it was exactly what Janelle has referenced tonight. I'm glad you brought out that expanding the network of your network potentially. It became I thought maybe it was just a public safety service that she offered, but that's actually not, you know, how it necessarily came to be. So. I did take some time and look at the website of the organization, and a lot of good information out there, and had a fruitful conversation today. So thank you.
Mr. Delaney?
I just wanted to, for the people that weren't there, I had abstained because I didn't have enough information. Since then, the chief has sent me that PowerPoint presentation, which Mr. Goodrow had referenced before. I really do think that everybody in the council should have this presentation and look it over, because there's some very astounding statistics in there. I was actually shocked by some of them. So I talked to the chief, and he said, well, if I send it, they're not going to know what it's about. That made sense. But now that you do know what it's about, I'm sure he's going to send it to you. And then if you could look it over. Since then, I also had talked with Wausau. They are another fire department that has implemented this. And the person that I talked to there said that besides the EAP, it's on top of the EAP that they already have in place, and it's something that they do quarterly where they have to check in. And I do think that when in talking to this guy, he seemed very fond of this program. So since then, I have gotten the information. I will be changing my vote tonight. So that's all I want to say.
Thank you. Mr. Zach?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I fully support this, especially with the things that are happening in our community today, and the things that I'm sure the men and women that are in the police and fire department are seeing. So I'm fully in support of this. My question, I know this isn't the same thing, but does it overlap with the chaplain services? Because I know they provided a lot of, ability to decompress some of the things that were going on a day-to-day basis. Does it complement each other, or how does that work?
So, yeah, you hit the exact term there, compliment. Actually, it was our chaplain that brought Janelle to our fire department. And his exact words were, I know enough to be able to understand when somebody's in crisis and then point them in the right direction. We never had that as part of our program. We've had chaplains, and we've done many things in the fire department over the last 2 years with our mental health initiatives, bringing people in that have had problems, speakers, but we never had that professional. And our chaplain actually brought Janelle to us and said, this is that professional piece that you're missing yet. So that's why we're sitting here today. So
Thank you. It's good. Thank you.
Mr. Katna. Thank you. Mr. Elm.
I fully support this, of what's going on in the community, but in the nation, with everything that these professions deal with on a daily basis. I guess I wish I had seen more ahead of time of before I cast my vote. And I hate to put it off one, because I do think this is something that has been missing for a long time, but I want to make sure I know what I'm talking about also. When could I expect to get some more, I guess, to look at?
I can send out that presentation that I sent to the HRs right away in the morning tomorrow.
I got a quick statistics, Tom, if I don't mind interrupting you a little bit. In the last 5 years, every year, and the police chief might have more on his side of the profession, but I know in fire profession, the number one cause of death for firefighters, and it may be police officers as well, is in accidents, fire-related, shooting. It's suicide.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's, I'm willing to go along with it. I guess I'd like to see the information, to go over it also, because I think it's very important. I think it's very important, the mental health issue all over, but for sure within these professions that deal with what they deal with on a daily basis, of things they see, encounter, and then they have to deal with each other on their crews, you know, the buddies. So it's, I think it's a very worthwhile thing, and as I said, I support it. I for sure will look at it when I get it, because I think this is a step in the right direction. Hopefully it's enough, and if we have to do more, I think that to let us know. Also, is this something that is, I guess a question for me would be, is this mandatory, as you're talking about, with the crew?
I'll let the chief answer that.
So, by law, we can't mandate people participate in it, but we can, I don't want to say mandate, but we can schedule them and tell them they have to show up at the appointment. And I think I could let Janelle talk, but I don't know the exact numbers, but what my research is that it's better than 90% of the people that show up that say they're not going to participate end up participating. So I'm sure she has her ways to get people to start talking, and usually if you're in crisis or you have something that's bothering you, it comes to the forefront when you start to talk. So, and Janelle can probably talk better to that than I can, but there's good research out there that you know, people that don't want to participate, but as long as they're there, usually start participating. So.
And that's actually, if I may, that's one of the things that Ryan and I talked about today. Sort of, if someone shows up and says, okay, I'm here, but I'm not going to talk about anything, and that's okay. So we start where it is safe, right? Let's talk about the Packers. Let's talk about the weather. And that safety develops, and small doors open, and part of my job is to help people explore some of those doors. And so in the years that I've been doing this, there's not many people who don't talk about something, and that rapport starts, and you begin to build that relationship and that safety for people.
Yeah, I guess I don't talk about it publicly much, but March 3rd, 2003, my best friend was shot and killed in the line of duty. And we were high school friends, we were college roommates, and I remember coming to the PD at the time, and because of the family had asked me to be a pallbearer, and I came to the PD and I was like, hey, can I get the week off? I'm going to be a pallbearer in this funeral. And they're like, I remember the shift commander's like, well, let's see if we can check the schedule, see if there's enough room for you to take off. And I'm like, wait a minute, my best friend was just shot and killed. And so I'm glad things have come further from that point, but I look back at that because it was a few months later that I left law enforcement. And I think back now that if things would have been differently, I may have retired from law enforcement. So, because these options weren't there then, and I think it's imperative that, you know, these options are available to our firefighters and just as importantly our police officer, and I hope that this will be expanded to that. And a previous Rapids Police Department employee he went on his own to Kenosha Police Department, and I think you've talked to him about and she's specifically trained in, is it EM therapy?
EMDR.
EMDR, thank you. And he went down to Kenosha because he was recognizing he had a problem, so luckily he on his own went down there, since Kenosha employs somebody on their staff that is trained like her, and got the therapy he needed, and now he speaks around the state on you know, getting help and speaking about these things. So I think it's important that this gets approved and looks to be expanded, and making sure our police department are included in this in the future. And this is something that's offered because, yeah, I'm back from more of old school, and the chief probably remembers back too. Yeah, we remember a lot of alcoholism and divorce and a lot of those things that that's how they dealt with it then. And so hopefully we can find a different path going forward for our public safety people. And I think it's important that we offer this to everybody in the public safety area in the future. Thank you.
Mayor?
Go ahead.
If I may, just shorten to finish up there. That's why I support it. I guess somewhat unseen, listening to what has been said, but I think it's something that we should have had and been doing a long time ago. That for them to go through this, but you know, if they have the need, if somebody has the need that I need help or whatever, that can be provided. Because I know, Ben, I believe what you said about how most of the fatalities happen. Mental health has become a big issue in departments, professions such as this, but it's also become very important for general citizenry, for what we've been seeing and dealing with over the last decade and more. That's what's been taking place across this country. So I support it. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. I think, when police and fire show up, it's people are having crisis at that moment, and I think it's important that the people that are showing up to help the people in crisis aren't in crisis themselves. And I think, doing this is very important. But anyways, we have a motion and a second on the floor to approve the item. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, please cast your ballots. Thank you. That motion carried, 7 ayes, 0 nays. And we are moving on to item 10. Thank you very much for showing up. Reports of other committees, commission, boards, and department reports. Please review at your pleasure. Any referrals?
No.
Okay, any referrals in the future, please forward those to the clerk. We are on item 12. I should probably just check my Zoom here real quick. In open session, no, they haven't yet. In open session, the council may vote to go into closed session under section 19.85 1E of the Wisconsin State Statute, which reads, deliberating and negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investments of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. In section 19.85, parent 1, parent G, Wisconsin statute, which reads conferring with legal counsel for the legal counsel for the governing body who who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respects to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved. In closed session, the council will discuss negotiations and litigation strategy regarding litigation involving in a new wastewater service agreement with the Village of Buren. And item 13 is the council will adjourn in closed session. What are your wishes?
Motion to move into closed session.
Thank you. We have a motion by Austin, seconded by Pollock. Please cast your ballots. And that motion carried 7 ayes, 0 nays. We'll take a 5-minute waiting for the attorneys.